Good morning, one and all. Just morning, actually, just gone afternoon, going to the afternoon. This is Ray from Next Forex Trade. Today is Friday, the 4th of October 2019. Just gone midday here in the UK. So yeah, let's have a crack on. Since yesterday, took another profit on the GBP Swissy. We'll come on to that a bit later. It being a Friday and it's probably non-form of payroll today, isn't it? It being a Friday, more importantly, not really looking to take any trades today. So it's pretty late in the day as well to be considering opening trades. But we'll have a quick overview of the market anyway, just see what opportunities there could be. Possibility for today if you did want to trade today, but more likely for going into next week. So let's crack on. First of the AUD CAD. So bearishness that we've seen displayed in previous videos throughout this week. Nice signs of bearishness, but at the moment it was quite oversold here, so we did need it to pull back, which it's doing. So I would envisage if we see this pullback today and then see a nice reversal candle off of previous resistance here or off of our standard deviation top here, then that could be a decent trade for Tuesday next week. But yeah, we just need to wait and see. So pass on that. This is looking good. So this is the AUD CHF. Although, what's this saying here? One sec. Yeah, I mean, bit of limbo in that we've seen this downtrend here with these lower highs and lower lows. So this standard deviation here has context, so we could be have an overall bearish view on this. Certainly the 4-hourly supports that as well. One sec, sorry. Okay, yeah, certainly the 4-hourly supports that as well, because we're seeing these lower lows and lower highs in the price action, which is the same as this move here on a daily. But what I'm just a little bit cautious of is this move here. It still has a lot of context, this rate retrace here. So the price has come down in its downtrend, but pulled back, done a retrace, and this hasn't yet been invalidated. So this could still continue bullishly to the upside, break these previous highs, and continue and potentially be a reversal. So that's really not clear until it moves past these lows here, and that would give more context to the downtrend with lower lows and lower highs. So I'd wait for that to happen. Really wouldn't really want to be trading that. But yeah, the lower time frames are definitely looking good in terms of potential bearishness, but I would want to see that happen on the daily first of all. AUD JPY, no, this is just too late in the move for me. You can see it's that same problem as well. I mean, a bearish overall. It's breaking that. Yeah, I'd want to see a bit more value in this. So bearish overall, lower highs, lower lows, inside our standard deviation. It's coming towards the average of our standard deviation. So what I want to see it do is move back, find some value nearer to the upper edge of our standard deviation here. It would also mean that on our 4-hourly and lower time frames, we'd be seeing that same move. So come back, interact maybe off of this level or even higher off of this level on the daily. That would make sense for potential short. So we'd need to see that interact, show a reversal candle, and the price move past the low of it. So next week, really, for that. This here is AUD USD. Spoke about this pretty much, I think, every day this week. So we've seen this hit support at the previous lows here. It's pulled away. Wouldn't be looking to short this just yet. Just need it to really, although 4-hour is looking good. No, I want the daily to be showing more value. So what I was looking at was this move here. So this move here on the daily is this move that we're seeing on the 4-hourly. So there is context here of like lower lows and lower highs in this. But the problem with entering here is the stop loss on the best technical level across the board on all time frames would be above this previous lower high based on the daily. So trying to short this here with a stop, say above the 4-hourly lower high, is still within, based on the daily, it's still here. So the price could still retrace, still in the grand scheme of things, be doing what it does and still not really be, not potentially reversing, but you'd be stopped out because it's too tight. So yeah, I'd wait for this to pull back a bit more on the daily before considering that as a short. So next, okay, CAD CHF. No, this is just a bit too rangy for me, so I wouldn't be looking to trade that. This CAD JPY, bearish on this overall, but this is just too far gone. This needs to pull back a bit, find some value, be nearer to our upper standard deviation channel to allow for a potential short. So I'd pass on that. This here is CHF JPY. Why have I got those on there? Oh, okay. It's the one I took profit on earlier in the week. So yeah, not looking to trade this at the moment. As you can see, as this, funny enough, as it's encountered this previous low here. So if you watch the other videos, you'll see I shorted this like last week. So took some profits on this, and my kind of approach is to take profits before previous lows. So this, in a downtrend, this would have been the previous lowest low. So I'd taken profits off before that, and my rationale behind that is because as it approaches these lows, it will have a tendency to find support, which it did. So in yesterday's candle today, I mean, it's not perfect support, it's not exactly on the level, but it's near enough this level. It's having trouble moving much lower, so it's going to pull back now, or it is pulling back at the moment. So really the more opportune time to take positions is after the pullback. Wait for the price to pull back, and taking profits before previous lowest lows in a downtrend gives you a more probable type of trade, because the price doesn't have to break and make new lows for you to make your profit. So that's just something to bear in mind. Look at the other videos, I do go over that more extensively, but you can see this one here is just not great timing now to try and short that. Euro AUD, bullish overall, higher highs, higher lows, fits nicely with our standard deviation, moving upwards. So our reference point would be this higher low on the daily, so it would be below this area here. We've got this horizontal trend line in, horizontal line in. So this also, as well as acting as our higher low, you can see there's areas of support here, zonal areas of support and resistance. As the price goes back here, resistance here. So this means underneath here is a good place for our stop loss. But at the moment, what this needs is a bit more value in the 4 hourly. So for this to pull back and see reversals off of our standard deviation. So this here is good movement. This is the same as this move here. So I'd want to see this pull back, see a reversal candle off of our standard deviation or off of some kind of support like this previous support here, and then go long based on the price moving past the high reversal candle, stop loss underneath here, and then you've got a one-to-one that stacks in terms of the profit potential. Because let's say we get an entry around about here, stop loss under here, it's about 350. It means you'd be taking profits off on a one-to-one reward to risk around about these types of levels. Yeah, so that means that in order to take profit off, to make a profit, the price doesn't need to make new highs on a one-to-one reward to risk basis. It even if it's, comes up to the previous high, finds resistance and falls away, you would have still made quite a likely profit by trading that way. So that's one for next week. What I'd like to see, again, just see this more support found on this, and reversal signs come into play. So next week that could be quite good. This looks good. This is the Euro CAD. So Euro CAD, bearish overall. We've seen some nice candle yesterday. These previous highs, you can see this high here. There's kind of zonal areas here on the dailies, previous support as well. These areas here that the price, basically we've got a nice reference point for the price potentially not moving much higher than this. It's also interacted with our standard deviation, giving some clue that it could find some value, move lower again. So really what we're looking for on this, in fact, just just clarifying as well, what we're seeing as zonal areas of support on the daily is more clearer contact points on the 4 hourly. So this same level, this high here, come on, this is going to work for me. You can see it's a bit clearer that these were, you know, clearer contact points, the extremes of the candles on the lower time frames. So if we zoom out here, this, these are just extremes where the candle hadn't failed to move much higher or lower than. So this just adds extra weight to saying that we need a stop loss above this type of level. Now, in terms of an entry, what we need to be thinking about is seeing some bearishness return to these lower time frames. It's good on the 4 hourly, but I'd also like to see that on the hourly as well. So really, I mean, breaking these previous lows would be a good start. So these here, but really what I'd want to see ideally is these lows to be broken, so the price to come down, break these lows and pull back, allowing us to have a standard deviation from high to low to capture that price. And we're looking for the price to pull back to the upper edge of that standard deviation and for reversals off of that, and then to short should the price move past the low of that reversal candle. But unlikely to happen today. Well, I wouldn't want to trade that today going into the weekend. Excuse me. Leave yourself susceptible to the market gapping, and that's just an additional risk that I prefer not to take. So that's one of the reasons why I don't trade Fridays. Euro CHF, let's have a look at this one. Euro CHF, it's a bit messy. I mean, bearish overall, definitely. Low lows, low highs, definitely in our overbought area of our standard deviation. Nice kind of yesterday's candle, found some nice resistance off of that, hit our standard deviation candle perfectly. Sorry, standard deviation channel upper edge. The candle hit it perfectly almost. There was clear resistance here from previous prices, right? That probably goes back as well. Today's candle again interacted with that resistance and it's fallen away. But the only problem at the moment is the lower time frames aren't really showing the lower lows and lower high price action I'd like to see to guide this trade. It started to break structure. For example, on the hourly, you can see that this was making higher lows, and potentially now it's breaking this previous higher low to make a lower low. But we need to see it kind of pull back still and start to move down with lower highs. At the moment, the low to high move here still has a bit too much context. The price is still falling within this. So what I'd want to see is it pull back and then break much lower than these previous lows, and then pull back, allowing us to have the high to low standard deviation and the price going downwards like that. But certainly there's a good reference for a stop loss in this above these highs, but I would want a bit more congruence from the lower time frames first of all before trying to short this. So what we got here, this is Euro GBP. This is good. We can see lower lows, lower highs. We can see as well, sorry, just checking messages. Okay, yeah, so price nicely within our standard deviation. This resistance here goes back quite zonally. These lows here, these lows here, this here. Just zoom out. Here, here, previous highs, here. Yeah, so there's good reason to see that this price could have trouble moving much higher. I mean, there's been 3-4 days or so now that it has had, you know, hovering around this level here. Now, again, what's wrong with this? Why wouldn't I trade this? Is so I want to see it break price structure. So the 4 hourly, we're looking at this move here, basically based on the daily, is this same move here. It's still a bit too bullish, so there's still potential for this to, you know, break past these previous highs here, with this move to continue, this bullish move. Let's just see. I mean, this is roughly around a 23 retrace as well. So this move that we've seen here and pull back, it gives other reason to consider this could be a reversal because, sorry, a continuation of this downtrend because it's a fib level as well. But I wouldn't want to preempt that too much. I just want to see a bit more confirmation first of all. So I want to see it break out of our standard deviation. So break lower, come past these lows ideally, and then pull back, allowing to give context to either this as a high to low standard deviation. Can't really put it around it because it's not enough price action, but the standard deviation to be basically from here to down here, or even better, just use this bigger move as the price action to determine the entry. And then it's just looking for reversals off of the upper edge of our standard deviation to short. But at the moment, like I said, you can see this is all very bullish, still higher highs, higher lows. Want to see these previous lows get broken, break for that support, allowing for a potential short. So next week, yeah, that could be interesting. We'll have a look at that, see how that could be tradable. Euro NZD, no, too late for me. Bearish overall, but this move here is just too far gone. Stop loss would be here, and that doesn't give good water risk. This needs to pull back to give a bit more value for money. So pass on that for me. Pass on this one. Bullish overall. It's just a bit too overbought at the moment because you want to be long on this. It's too far up here. It needs to come down, find some support either on these areas or on our standard deviation, and then show signs of reversal to potentially be long on this. So no. Euro USD, so kind of similar thing, needs a bit more value. Beautiful bearishness overall, nicely within our standard deviation, but the intention of this price action here is still quite bullish. You can see these candles are still kind of making new highs over each other, and we want to see signs of bearishness. So that would be a reversal candle off of previous resistance, so that maybe these levels also interacting with our standard deviation and the price moving past the low, and then to see that corroborated by lower lows and lower highs in our daily in our lower time frames as well. So not quite yet, but into next week, be interesting to see how that materializes. GBP AUD, bullish overall, but again, just needs to find a bit of value, so needs to pull back, find some support, and show signs of reversal. So again, this could be good for next week. GBP CAD, no, bearish overall in this move here, but as I've probably mentioned in other videos, it's limbo because this context, there's still context to this bullish move here, which could be a retrace or it could be a reversal, like a continuation of basically the price continuing to move up. So I'd want to see more clarity before considering that, so I'd pass on that. So, okay, so GBP Swissy, this is a trade that I traded and made some profit on yesterday, and let's just break down how that went. So I did, so let me just put my levels on. So we'll use the hourly for this. So this was my stop loss under this level here. This here was my entry around this level, and then this here was my exit. So my basically I did take this L1 out early, slightly early, just because of some of the signs I was seeing on the lower time frames. So it's looking a bit messy now, but basically stop loss, entry, actual exit, intended exit, like original level that I wanted to get out. So basically when I entered here, you know, it made sense because this was the higher low on the daily, these levels here. I had my stop loss like below that, so that made sense. There was bullishness in the price action that allowed me to enter a good time here. I decided to take the profit out here about what was it, 80, it was around 88 pounds. It's about 89 after the swaps were paid. But this here, the reason I decided to take this out slightly early is because the price was showing overbought on this, very, very overbought, in terms of interacting with our standard deviation on multiple time frames. And the profit target I was going for was around 100, and there were signs of some reversal on the lower time frames. So basically, it was 90% of the way there, which I was fine with, because when the price was at overbought, there's a very good likelihood that it was going to pull back and allow me for a new entry, and without kind of giving back that profit, if that makes sense. So I basically made 90% of what I needed to. There were signs of it being overbought and it pulling back to allow me to get into a new position to potentially ride that to the upside again. So this, if you're new to trading, I would suggest strongly just leaving your take profits in as you decided from the get-go. Don't kind of trouble them at all, because you can see, had I left this in, this would have actually hit the full take profit at £100, but I took it out for various reasons. So but that's just something to bear in mind, that you've got options when you're at least on the right side of the price. You've got options on how you can manage the price, how you can manage the trade. So this did in all essence fall back. I was safely out of this, hit take profit, and going into next week I'll be looking to get on the back of this again if this maintains as well, because we still can see, my stop loss would have still made sense, even though I've taken out the position. This stop here, it still makes sense because the price is still making higher highs, higher lows. You've got a good reference point of support here, which goes back as well. So stop loss below that makes sense. But the only things that missing at the moment is to see some better confirmation of bullishness on our lower time frame. So 4 hourly still fine for bullishness, but I'd want to see it come back in the hourly and the 15-minute maybe, just higher highs and higher lows. This will be sweet for next week if that is the case. So going to be keeping an eye on that. Yeah, that's worth coming back to. Okay. So GBPJPY, this is, I'm bullish on this. Nice signs of it finding support. You can see previous lows here. That may go back. So interact with our standard deviation. 4 hourly is nicely bullish as well. Just need to see better signs on the hourly. So at the moment it's still quite bearish in this move here. Breaking these previous highs here would be ideal, because it would also break this previous support that we saw in the price action, and will give more context to a low to high standard deviation. So probably not today, but into next week, if we do see that continue, what we'd be looking for is a break of those previous highs and a pullback, allowing for an entry. But right now, no, I would not be looking to trade that. GBPNZD, no, need to see a sign of reversal of our standard deviation. It's nice that it's pulling back now a bit deeper. I would have mentioned this in other videos. I want to see it interact with our standard deviation. So this looks like a level where it could find some contention, where we've seen these previous highs here, which also coincide with our standard deviation. The low of it, just see if it's a fib retrace as well. Yeah, more or less that would be a 38.2 retrace around these levels. So yeah, just look out for interactions here today, going into next week, and then reversals to go along on it, and obviously bullishness in our hourly and lower time frames as well. GBPUSD, still that kind of limbo. Yeah, I'd leave this. So bearish clearly in this move here, so this has the potential to move lower, but I'm just wary of this retrace here. It's just not enough profit potential in it for me, really. Could play this to the long side, stops below this level, take profits before these highs, but it's just too tight. And as well, the 4 hourly isn't really congruent with the hourly in terms of potentially going long. So I would pass on GBPUSD. NZD CAD looking nicely to go into an overbought area in terms of the downtrend here. So if this candle ends up something like it looks like now, that would be a good sign, because it would be previous resistance that the price has interacted. It's also our upper edge of our standard deviation. And then it would just be a case of seeing better signs of bearishness on these lower time frames. So this could be an interesting one for next week. No, too oversold, hitting support, wouldn't want to trade that. Be selling into that support, not great. This is looking good. NZD USD, same thing here that I was saying. If we see reversals and interaction with these previous highs here, that would be good. So this low here, this high here, so the price come up, it would also interact with our standard deviation. This candle wouldn't be great on its own, so I'd want to see Monday's candle be quite a toppy candle, and just, you know, touch these types of levels and potentially look for shorts based on the price moving past the low of that reversal candle. So again, one for next week. No, this is too sideways, wouldn't trade that. NZD Swissy, this needs to come down, find support off of our standard deviation or horizontal support, allowing us for an entry. So this at the moment is not great as it is, but it has potential. So yeah, next week, this is a little bit too far gone for me in terms of this move. It'd be bearish overall, and again, it's that thing, isn't it? This here. No, that's good. It's good that it's broken that support. So what I was worried about was this retrace here. This potentially could have still had bullishness to it, but it's clearly broken out of the standard deviation. You can see in yesterday's candle, and today it's continued down. So I'd be happy to consider this as the move that we're looking to move in terms of the bigger move here. If we take it on the 4 hourly, this standard deviation here. So what this needs is a pullback to find value and then potentially get short on this. Stops would be above these previous highs here. So this would allow for a 1-to-1 that gives, after the pullback, say an entry around these kinds of levels. Your 1-to-1 raw to risk would mean it's around these levels, which makes sense because it's way before this previous low here. So that stacks as a trade, but it just needs to find some value. It needs to pull back and interact with our lower time frame standard deviation. So again, probably one for next week. That's it. Bitcoin here. So yeah, so as you can see, the count is about 8% up from £10,000 start. That's over what, 3 months. So relatively low risk per trade. So any trade that has been on this account has been between 0.5% and no more than 3%. So that's the important thing to realize. It's not really the amount, it's more the percentage return that you should be focusing on, and how much you're risking in order to gain a profit. So if you're risking a whole, if you're risking half your account to get 10% back, doesn't make sense. I'm making, I'm risking only small amounts here to get a relatively bigger return. So just bear those things in mind. You can see the MyFX book overview of how this account's been grown. Link should be in the description. And yeah, if you like the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and also subscribe to the channel so you can get notified of new videos as they come out every day, Monday to Friday. Thanks a lot for listening. Bye.